We've published quite a few bandsaw projects, and we intend to publish quite a few more, like these Halloween elves or these Christmas elves that we made with compound cuts on the bandsaw. Many of you commented that you love the projects, but you just don't have a bandsaw and you don't think you can afford one. So we went shopping for the least expensive bandsaw on which you could create cool stuff like this. Ow. This is the WEN 9-inch bandsaw. 9 inches, or 23 centimeters, refers to the throat, the width from the frame to the blade. It will cut through stock 3.5 inches, or almost 9 centimeters thick, and will accommodate blades up to 3/8 or 10 millimeters wide. It has a 2-point-amp induction motor, which is a bit wimpy, but adequate for most bandsaw procedures except resawing. Of course, you won't be doing much resawing at 3.5 inches. It also comes with a fence and a miter gauge, which are more afterthoughts than they are truly useful. But the saw itself works well, and it's sturdy enough to last if you maintain it and don't push it too hard. It's well worth the 180 greenbacks that I paid for it, although that price will change with time and tariffs. It's sold in the United States and Canada. You can get it through our Amazon affiliate store, and WEN will ship globally through eBay. And in case you're wondering, WEN is based in the US, but this particular tool was made from parts made all over the world and put together in Thailand. All bandsaws require careful alignment and adjustment in order to work well, and the WEN is no different. I'm going to walk you through my setup procedure. It sort of follows the owner's manuals, but I've made a few additions that you may find important. The first step, of course, is to unpack the saw, check that all parts are in good order, and they work as advertised. Once you're satisfied that the saw is in good working order, let's start with one of the first things that you unpacked, the table. As you can see by the parallel grooves, this thing was flattened with a surface grinder, and I don't know what grit they used, but I suspect that it was very close to driveway gravel. The depth of the grooves don't worry me so much as the peaks. The peaks grab at the wood and make it difficult to feed, especially when you're cutting curved shapes. Fortunately, this is an easy fix. In fact, you're looking at a table that has already been smoothed. What I did was simply sand the surface. Wrap a piece of 320 grit sandpaper or red Scotch-Brite around a flat wooden block and go to it. You don't have to remove the grooves. Just flatten the peaks so there's a little shine. If you want a lot of shine, switch to a sander. I'm using a 180 grit ceramic pad. Once you've got the table where you want it, apply some paste wax and buff it. Before you use your saw, the good folks at WEN suggest that you attach it to a solid surface to make it rock steady. And this is good advice. The base is a little narrow front to back. However, this is a benchtop tool, and most of us don't have enough bench real estate to assign this saw its own personal parking space. I suggest that you add 2 boards beneath the saw to widen the base, holding them in place with 1/4 inch or 6 millimeter bolts. That way you can store the saw out of the way when it's not in use, and then clamp it to your workbench when you have some sawing to do. We also made this Bandsaw Base that includes a shallow drawer to store a few blades and accessories. More on this later. At this point, we're ready to align and adjust. Now, the WEN bandsaw comes with a 1/4 inch, that's a 6 millimeter blade already in it, but I'm going to take it out and put it back in again so you can see the entire procedure. Remove the table insert and a table leveling bolt. Open the upper and lower wheel covers by turning the locking knobs. Turn the tensioning knob at the top of the bandsaw to loosen the blade. You may also want to remove the table and the lower blade guard so you can better see what you're doing. Then open the upper blade guard. And this, surprisingly, can be tricky because the little sticker says push. And I pushed on this thing every which way from Sunday and couldn't get it to budge. I finally Googled it and found I wasn't the only idiot having this problem. The sticker apparently is a bad joke. What you want to do is squeeze and twist, and it opens right up. Should you need to remove it, simply lift it to compress the spring at the top and tilt it to the right. It comes right out. Once the bandsaw is opened up, slip the blade off the lower wheel and remove it from the bandsaw. The WEN comes with a 1/4-inch blade, which is good enough for jobs that don't require a lot of detail. But if you need to cut a lot of tight curves, like the shapes of the elves and the reindeer, I suggest you buy some 1/8 inch 3mm and 3/16 inch 5mm wide blades, all 59.5 or 151 inches long. The narrower the blade, the tighter the curves it will cut. Once you've chosen a blade, put it back on the bandsaw. Make sure that the tension is loose, and then I usually start by hanging it on the upper wheel. Also make sure it's positioned between both sets of guide bushings, upper and lower. Once it's in place, slowly increase the tension while turning the wheels by hand. This saw has no tension gauge, so you have to use good judgment when tensioning the blade. I usually tighten it until I can pluck it and hear a low note. On this particular bandsaw, that's an F sharp. You can also push on the side of the blade with your finger and stop when you can no longer deflect the blade more than 1/16 of an inch or 1mm with moderate pressure. Fortunately, this isn't a critical measurement. You really don't need a banjo tuner. What you do need is enough tension that the blade doesn't vibrate when the saw is running, and not so much that it breaks after running a short time. What is critical is tracking. Back off the upper and lower backup bearings. To do this, you'll need the 4mm Allen wrench that comes with the saw. Then plug the saw in and run it for a short time. The blade should track in the center of the upper wheel. If it doesn't, loosen the lever that locks the tracking mechanism, and then, with the saw running, turn the tracking knob until the blade is centered in the top wheel. Then, lock it up again and unplug the saw. There is a flange on the casting that comes very close to the upper wheel on the bottom. I attempted to mount a bandsaw blade that had been made slightly shorter than the recommended 59.5 inches. As a result, the flange rubbed on the wheel even after I had tensioned the blade. I had to remove the wheel and slightly grind down the casting in order to get the saw to run. Now, I might have sent the blade back to the manufacturer, but grinding the flange was the shorter road home. When you've got the blade tracking properly and the wheels turning without rubbing, it's time to adjust the bearings. First, advance the backup bearings so they almost touch the back of the blade. There should be a tiny sliver of light between the two. That's good right there. Then position the guide bearings so the front edge of each bearing is even with the gullets of the saw blade. That's the spaces in between the teeth where the blade is at its thinnest. You don't want these bearings ever to touch the teeth. Then adjust the distance between the guide bearings so the blade will slip between them but without too much slop. Adjust the bearings wide and then wrap a piece of masking tape around the blade. Bring in each bearing so it just touches the tape. Be very careful that you don't bring the guide bearing in too far so that one of them deflects the blade right or left. The blade must run straight between the wheels. And by the way, these adjustments must be done every time you change the blade. You must also remember to take the tape off. Once you're certain that the blade tension, tracking, backup bearings, and guide bearings are all properly aligned and adjusted, put everything back together. That includes the wheel covers, blade guards, table insert, and the table leveling bolt. Concerning this bolt, it is a frustrating task to try to hold the flat washer and the lock washer in place under the table while you're threading the wing nut. To simplify, I got rid of the lock washer and I stuck the flat washer to the wing nut with a bit of super glue. If there is enough vibration to loosen this wing nut in between blade changes, then you've got a lot bigger problems than a missing lock washer. Okay, The last thing that we need to do to complete this setup is to square the blade to the table, both side to side and front to back. Let's start with side to side. Tilt the table until it rests on the stop close to the left side of the table near the vertical part of the frame. Tighten both table locks and place a small engineer square on the table against the flat of the blade. If the blade is not square to the table, then you have to readjust the stop. And this can be a bit tricky because just looking at the bandsaw, you'd assume that that stop bolt is threaded into the frame. It's not. There are no threads. Instead, the bolt is held in place by two nuts, one on the outside and one on the inside that you can't see. To adjust the stop, tilt the table until you can reach the stop and loosen both nuts. Turn the outside nut until you think the stop is at the right height, then tighten the inside nut, getting it as tight as possible by hand. Finally, tighten the outside nut while keeping the bolt from turning. Tilt the table back onto the stop, and then check that it's square to the flat of the blade. If not, just repeat the steps. If you're lucky, you'll only have to do it 40 or 50 times to get it right. Once the table is squared to the flat of the blade, you may want to set the angle indicator under the table. However, I found this indicator interferes with your ability to easily remove and replace the table. And I definitely like being able to remove the table when changing the blade. So I simply pointed the angle indicator to one side. After all, you can have a fulfilling life without an angle indicator. There are much more accurate ways to change the angle of your table. So, let's get on with making sure that the back of the blade is square to the table. This is what ensures that your cuts meet when you're cutting an inside corner. This is the beginnings of a witch elf that I cut when I first got the saw. There are inside corner cuts that make up the witch hat. You'll note that they meet fine on one side of the cut, but they seem to go past each other or they don't meet at all on the other side. It would take a lot of sanding and filing to clean up cuts like these. Use the square to check the angle between the table and the back of the blade. This will tell you which way to tilt the table or if it has to be tilted at all. Remove the table from the saw. And then remove the trunnion from the table. Using brass shim stock, aluminum flashing, or even paper, make some shim washers. Make enough that you can build up various thicknesses. I only needed about 10 thousandths. Insert the shims between the trunnion and the table so they change the tilt and square the table to the back of the blade. This too will take multiple tries to get it right. But fortunately, both the trunnion adjustment and the stop bolt adjustment only have to be done once, I hope. And once you get it right, then this saw potentially can be just as accurate as any other bandsaw on the market, even those costing hundreds of dollars more. You won't be able to resaw stock any wider than 3.5 inches, 9 centimeters, but you'll be able to cut elves and reindeers and witches with the best of them. One more thing. The upper blade guard has a small tab at the bottom that covers the upper guide bearings. I'm sure that was intended to make the saw safer, but it also makes it more difficult to use because you need to see that area in order to start a cut and follow a line. To be able to see what you need to see, I had to raise the guard, which can be just as dangerous. For me to be able to see the cut line with the guard and the guide bearings where they need to be, I decided to cut the tab off. Fortunately, you can do this with the bandsaw. This made it possible to properly position the guard and the bearing, see the line, and make an accurate cut. To be clear, I am not recommending that you modify a piece of safety equipment. Doing so will probably void your warranty. I am just showing you what I needed to do to be able to use this specific saw comfortably. After all, I've only had 46 years experience using bandsaws, and I've only written one book on the tool, so there's probably something I missed owing to my inexperience. But it's also possible that this was a poor design. And I should probably add that this is one of the few features on this saw that I found to be problematic. Overall, it's a good tool, and when properly aligned and adjusted, it will perform with the best bandsaws on the market. I am impressed, mostly. A few more things to make your bandsawing life easier. This is what I call a tool tower. Travis and I have several benchtop tools that we use only occasionally, and when they aren't in use, we want them to take up very little shop space. This tower makes it possible. As you can see, I've got 3 benchtop tools stacked in the space of 1. The retractable casters make it easy to move and set up whenever we need one of these tools. The adjustable shelf is also a floating drawer that you can use to store manuals and those funny little wrenches and screwdrivers that come with these tools. The floating drawer is not just a shelf with a drawer attached. It's 2 reinforced boxes that slide together, like so. This will hold plenty of weight without sagging, and you can take this same design, make the sides and the back a little wider, and it becomes a storage base for benchtop tools. There's enough storage space in the drawer for extra blades, accessories, alignment tools, breath mints, anything small and indispensable. The WEN bandsaw is available through our Amazon affiliate store. The same is true of the retractable casters that I showed you. And you can purchase the plans for the tool tower and the storage stand from the Workshop Companion General Store. The links for all of these are in the description. And pretty soon, we'll have the templates available for these scary little Halloween elves from the same source. Please like, subscribe, and buy something to keep these videos coming. And, as always, thank you for your kind attention.